Hi there, good day. And today we have a new series of topic. It would be a series of videos, short videos, and I'd like to cut it piece by piece. For today's topic and for this series of videos, I'd like to have for us the art of preaching, and we call this homiletics. And with this, I would like to have this as part of our intro. And these are all the topics that we are going to touch for the next series. So we'll be dealing with what is homiletics or homily, and then we will be dealing also with preparing homily. Is like preparing for food, and the do's and don'ts of homiletics or in the pulpit or in the platform. And I will be giving you the body of the sermon on how it would be arranged and how it would look like. And this is a, a bonus for you because I'll be dealing with the 3 by 3 sermon. You cannot see this in some other presentations or Bible schools, but I find out that uh, the 3 by 3 sermon is logical and I say the average and a good standard of listening to the congregation. And so I would like for us to have a 3 by 3 sermon. Later on you will know that in my one of the videos. And then I'll be dealing with the types of sermon. There are many of these. I think there are 10 of these. So expect of many presentations of our video in line with the homiletics. Although it is not accredited to any schools or Bible school, but believe me, this is generally accepted throughout the world. So I would prefer to speak in English so that other Asian countries or perhaps Western countries they can have or they can relate to it. So let me start with homily. What do we mean by homily? If you look at it from dictionaries, it is the art or is a road. It's a moral preaching of a priest according to dictionaries or the content of the preaching of those people in the pulpit. But again, as what I have said in my previous videos, that if the science and the Bible contradicts, or if the science, sorry, defies the meaning of the biblical principle, especially when Jesus, uh, from the words of Jesus itself, then it is always our prerogative and our understanding that the Bible is correct and science is incorrect. And so I'd like for us a definition of homily from Matthew chapter 20, sorry, not chapter 7, verses 27, and then down. It says there that, let me read it for us. Let me read it for us. 7, verse 27, it says, verse 24. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them may be compared to a wise man who built his house on the rock. So I think we know all the story about the building of the house in the rock and on the sand. So the reason why God or Jesus was so indignant to the preachers during his days because they were good in speaking but not good in application. So he said that if you are a good listener and apply it and do it for yourself, apply what you are preaching, then it is like you are a man building his house upon the rock. So that's the homily. Meaning, in my personal definition, based on that context, is that homily or the content plus ethics of the preacher. So I would like to be dealing with the homily or the content of the sermon plus ethics and equals homiletics. That's my definition. Maybe you do not like that, it's up to you, but based on my understanding that the content of our preaching, it should be in line with how we live to our preaching. That's why homiletics is the homily of a sermon and the content, I mean, the ethics of the preacher. So that's homiletics. And then preparing a sermon or preparing homily is like preparing for food. Nowadays, it's no longer hard for you to cook because just go to the fridge and look for the food to cook. But in olden times, when you cook food, you have to go to somewhere and find some ingredients for your food. And this is the same with homiletics because you need to dig up of the words, you have to consider or the background, but consider the settings, what was the prevalent word during, and many things need to be considered before applying it to the congregation, before applying it, before preaching it. You have to dig it deeper. And by the way, when you say preparing food, you know what will be the outcome of your sermon. It's not a que sera sera. You have the outcome that surely it would reach at that point. When you say, when I cook spaghetti, then surely the ending is spaghetti taste. It's not a other one. So homiletics is just like preparing for food that you know what will be the outcome after you deliver the sermon. So it's like a preparing for food. And then we'll be doing with the do's and don'ts of homiletics. This is very important because nowadays people are become sensitive, especially people become liberal because of because of the development of the society. But that's why we need to be extra careful of the do's and don'ts in the pulpit, in the public speaking. And so I'll be dealing also with the body of the sermon. Sorry, we have done this in our secular studies, or I mean in our high schools, in our college, we have done this. But comparing it to our preparation, maybe a little bit more different. So I will be dealing with this also. And this is the most exciting, and this 3x3 sermon is a product of my more than 30 years of preaching. And I find out that in the Philippines, this is quite enough to have more or less 25 minutes sermon, and that is quite good enough. Of course, we know that in the public speaking, it's only 15 minutes. Exhortation is just like 7 minutes. But in a sermon or in a pulpit, the 3x3 sermon is quite fitting and very fitting. And so the types of sermon, as what I have said, there are many. In my personal assessment, of course, we know during my studies back in college and back in seminary, I've learned that there were only 4. But as the days go by, the development of the other preaching style, then I come up to the point of having 10 sermons. And you will know it in my next videos. So those are only the introduction, my friends. So please don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to know more, just click the bell so that you will be notified every time I have upload, or I will upload some videos in line with these online Bible teachings. Thank you. Shalom, everyone.